Welcome. In this video, we will discuss about the rite of passage for animal. So, if you have been following the news, you would have known that man and animal conflict has become one of the contention point in terms of how to conserve the wildlife along with safeguarding the interest of people there. So man and animal conflict become a very center point of the wildlife protection conservation effort. So these things are important. So in this particular video we will discuss about the rite of passage for animals. For the purpose of this video, we will focus on the elephants because that was the latest judgment in terms of how the passage for elephant should be allowed in the Nilgiris. So we will discuss about an elephant in details, but the whole idea or the general concept remain the same, that there should be the habitat, the natural habitat of the animals. They should also be conserved and they should allow the passage, and development should not become an hinder to their passage. So that is the whole idea, and we will discuss about these things in detail in this video. So let's move forward. So the first thing that we need to do is, what is the thing because of which this particular thing was in news. So recently Supreme Court held that the 2011 order of the Madras High Court on the Nilgiris elephant corridor affirming the right of passage of animals. So basically what happened, Supreme Court upheld the 2011 decision of Madras High Court, where they said that elephant corridor in Nilgiri, here the animal had the right of passage. So elephants have the right of passage, and the resorts which have come up in those areas need to be cleared off. So that was the major judgment by Madras High Court in 2011, and Supreme Court reaffirmed that. So that is the basic thing. In 2011, the Madras High Court upheld the validity of Tamil Nadu government notification of 2010. What was the judgment of Madras High Court now? So basically, in the case of Madras High Court judgment, they kind of reaffirm what Tamil Nadu government has passed as a form of notification in 2010, where it asked that the elephant corridor in the Sirgur plateau of the Nilgiri district as an area which cannot be tempered with resorts, and elephants should have the right of passage over there. So that was the major judgment. It started that the government is fully empowered under the Project Elephant. Now Project Elephant is one of the important project in India along with Project Tiger, which aim to increase or provide extra protection to the elephant. So this is one of the project, and under this project the government is actually empowered to pass such notification, where they could actually kind of restrict movement or restrict construction or development in a particular area which is considered as important for the conservation or for the protection of elephants. So that was the major reason because of which in 2011 Madras High Court said that the Tamil Nadu notification was valid. Along with the Project Elephant, there is also a constitutional article, which is your Article 51AG, which actually says that elephant corridor in the Nilgiri district could be conserved. Now, what is the Article 51A? So just remember, 51A deals with the fundamental duties. So this particular part was added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. And in the G clause of section Article 51A, it says that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. So this is the fundamental duty which is enshrined in the constitution itself, to protect or to improve the overall natural resources present in the forest, lakes, rivers and wildlife is considered as the fundamental duty. So state government or government in general have all rights to protect certain areas where the right to passage of animals could be allowed. Further, it upheld the directions to the resort owners and other private landowners to vacate land falling within the notified elephant corridor. So the elephant corridor, which was notified by the Tamil Nadu government through their notification in 2010, it was asked by the High Court, Madras High Court in 2011, to vacate that place. So the resort should not pop up there in that corridor, because it would lead to traffic problem, it will lead to fragmentation of the passage, and such kind of problems could come up. And hence here, like in present also, Supreme Court reaffirmed that judgment. So that is the basic point of conversation we are having right now. Supreme Court also said that that particular Nilgiri elephant corridor, the notification is valid, and resort owner should work out a vacating plan from that land. So that is the whole thing because of which this particular thing was in use. Now let's move forward. What is the judgment of Supreme Court? So it's the state duty to protect the keystone species. So this is what the Supreme Court judgment has said, that it is the duty of state to protect the keystone species. What is keystone species actually? So these are the one which has a disproportionately large effect on the communities in which it lives. So for an example, why Project Tiger was very important? Because once tiger has been removed from a ecosystem, it had led to the loss of a lot of biodiversity because of the things it feed on. So such kind of species are called as keystone species, that if they have been removed from a particular ecosystem, it will have disproportionately large adverse effect on the ecosystem. So these are keystone species. Elephant is also one among them. The elephant corridor allows elephant to continue their nomadic mode of survival despite shrinking forest cover by facilitating travel between distinct forest habitats. So that is one thing that you need to know. What happened over here is that elephants like to move around, and we have already shrink the forest cover. That is, we have been cutting down forest for the construction and development. So even in that scenario, elephant is able to thrive because they can go on and move here and there, and they kind of believe in the nomadic mode of survival. So for that purpose, it is very important that such corridors are constructed within the protected area. So that is also one of the things. These corridors play a crucial role in sustaining wildlife by reducing the impact of habitat isolation. So that is the reason why these elephant corridors are very important for the protection of the elephant. So that is the thing which even the Supreme Court highlighted. The court also allowed formation of a committee led by a retired High Court judge and two other persons to hear individual objections of resort owners and private landowner within the corridor space. So now what happened? We are talking about the interest of the animals, the wild and life, the elephants, to the thing to protect and conserve them. But at the same time, the Supreme Court has formed a committee, because what happened, even the resort or the private land owners who have already invested in that particular region, they could be bearing loss or there could be some objection from that. So Supreme Court have come up that we should have a committee which will be there will be a retired High Court judge over there and two other person who will listen to the objections of the other side of it, like the landowners and the resort owners. So that is the other major judgment which has been provided by the Supreme Court. However, during the hearing, the Supreme Court opened that the area is a fragile ecosystem where the will of man must give way to elephant. So even though they have formed the committee, the major judgment or the perspective of Supreme Court in its judgment had been that it is this Nilgiris. It's actually a fragile ecosystem, which means that if we are tinkering with it, it could have many ripple effects down the line. So it says that this is a fragile ecosystem, and here the will of the man should give way to elephant. So this is how they have become poetic in their judgment, and they have said that the interest of elephant should be put at a higher pedestal as compared to the interest of the man in such a scenario. So these are the basic details about the Supreme Court judgment. Now let's move forward and try to see what other things which they have verbatim quote. So the precautionary principle makes it mandatory for the state government to anticipate prevent and attack causes of environmental degradation. So this is the one which is mentioned in the project Elephant, where it makes it like a kind of a duty of the state government to go ahead and take the precautionary measures. It was necessary for to limit the commercial activity in the areas falling in the corridor. The corridors allow elephant to continue their nomadic mode of survival despite shrinking. We have already talked about this particular point. And what happened when the corridors are not there? So in the absence, elephants would be unable to move freely, which would affect other species, and the ecosystem balance of several wild habitat would be unalterably upset. So that is what Supreme Court has actually highlighted, that elephants are keystone species. If they are not protected, it will actually affect the other species within the same ecosystem as well. So the ripple effect is actually quite a lot. So that is something which was highlighted by the Supreme Court in its judgment. Now let's move forward and try to understand about the Nilgiris elephant corridor. So we have discussed that Nilgiris elephant corridor is the one which got the validity from Madras High Court, and then Supreme Court also said that this is actually a fragile ecosystem and elephant corridor should be a valid thing. So the corridor is situated in the ecologically fragile Sigur Plateau. Now remember this, Sigur Plateau, where it is actually at the junction of Western and Eastern Ghat, and sustain elephant population and their genetic diversity. So this particular Nilgiris elephant corridor is situated in the Sigur Plateau, and this particular plateau is located at the junction, or you can say the connecting point of Western and Eastern Ghat. So this becomes very important for the movement of elephant and their survival. It is situated near the Muddumalai National Park. Now also remember this part, that where it is actually situated, near the Muddumalai National Park. Now in the comment section you can tell me Muddumalai National Park is situated in which state. So in the comment section drop a comment and tell where Muddumalai National Park is set up, which state. It has Nilgiri Hills on the southwestern side and the Moyar River Valley on the northwestern eastern side. So just remember what is the exact location. Now it has the Nilgiri Hills on the southwestern side. In the southwestern side it has Nilgiris, and what it has on the northeastern side, it has Moyar Valley. So you have to see where Moyar River flows through. So this is also a thing, like these are all geographic terms that you need to remember. There are about 100 elephant corridors in India, with almost 70% are used regularly. So we have around more than 100 elephant corridors within India. 75% of those corridors are in the southern, central and northeastern forest. So where is the northern India does not have elephant corridor, it is actually specifically located in the central India, northeastern India as well as the southern India. They are estimated about 6,500 elephants in the just Brahmagiri Nilgiris Eastern Ghat ranges. So it is said that this particular range where the Nilgiris elephant corridor is situated is consists of around 6,500 elephants. So if you have been around Bangalore area, if you have been to the Bandipur, you would have seen the elephants over there. So this particular Brahmagiri Nilgiri Eastern Ghat range also has a lot of elephants in it. Now when we are at this topic, let's just try to quickly revise all the geographic location that we have studied or we have learned just now. So remember the Sigur Plateau where it is, then Moyar River Valley. You have to again figure out the location of this one. Nilgiri Hills, so you have to look out for the location, the geographical location of this, what all ranges are included over here. So all these things, other rivers which passes through this area, and important peaks over here. So you could just revise all these things. It will actually help you to consolidate your knowledge. So these are the things that you need to know. Now coming back to the topic, we were discussing about the Nilgiris elephant corridor. Now let's move forward and see what are the challenges, like what are the issues or challenges being faced by the elephants because of which their population is shrinking, or what kind of problems were tackled under the project elephant as well. So the first is rite of passage itself. In 800-page study released in 2017. So rite of passage is the name of the study which was released by the Wildlife Trust India, WTI, released a report called Rite of Passage, which identifies and records detail pertaining to 101 elephant corridors across India. So this particular report is the one which kind of looked into the matter of elephant corridors, and they figured out, or they surveyed around 101 elephant corridor in India. So that was done by WTI, Wildlife Trust of India. So what they have observed is that, first of all, they observed the narrowing passage width. Only 22% corridor are of a width at one of the 3 kilometer. So basically what is happening, the passage width is shrinking. So narrowing of passage width along with human encroachment of corridors. So the one which were discussed recently, what Supreme Court has talked about regarding the resort owners or the private land owners to vacate the land, this kind of encroachment is there in the corridor. So this WTI report also highlighted that human encroachment has become more frequent in the corridor. Then intercepted corridors, which means there are fragmentation. About 36.4 of the elephant corridor of the northwestern India, 32% in central India, 35.7% in northern west range, and 13% of the elephant corridor in northern eastern India have a railway line. So the thing is, you don't have to remember the data as such, but the thing that you need to remember is that railway line. So the railway line is the one which leads to the interception of corridor. So if you construct a railway line in between the corridor, it will lead to fragmentation of their path, and they will not be able to pass like properly through this. There is also a thing like even the roads have been constructed along these national parks, and even the corridor have been infringed by it. So such kind of intercepted corridor pose a problem to the elephants in their rite of passage. And finally, land use along corridors. So in terms of land use, only 12.9% of the corridors are totally under forest cover. So this is something, again, a troubling thing, that the corridor, the area around it, is also being used for maybe agriculture or settlement. So this kind of thing leads to the decrease in the forest cover. So if that happens, again, the elephant does not have the proper, even through the corridor, they have to reach from somewhere to somewhere, right? And if we are like removing the forest surrounding the corridor, it will also have an adverse effect on the population of elephant. So this is something which has been highlighted in the WTI report of rite of passage. The challenges like the passage width is decreasing, human encroachment is happening, land use pattern around the corridor is against the forest cover, and then finally the intercepted corridor like passing of railway line and so. So these are the major challenges in terms of the elephant corridor. Now let's move forward and see what are the Asian elephants. So in India, what we see are Asian elephant. So if you get a chance, go to Mysore Zoo. You will see there African elephants are also there, and there are like physical differences between Asian elephant and African elephant. So there are 3 subspecies of Asian elephant: the Indian, Sumatran and Sri Lankan. So Asian elephant, these are the major countries where this Asian elephant is found: India, Indonesia and Sri Lanka. The India has the widest range and account for majority of the remaining elephants on the continent. So India is the one which has the maximum population of elephants in Asia. Escalation of poaching, habitat loss, human-elephant conflict, treatment in in captivity are some common threats to both African and Asian elephants. Now, we are talking specifically about Asian elephant, but these kind of problems are posed for the African elephants also. So there is a case of poaching, so their tusk is very important, and because of it there is an illegal trade market and they get poached because of that. So poaching is there. Then habitat loss, so we had this degrading the forest at a very fast pace, so degrading of forest is there. Then human elephant conflict, so humans are encroaching into the forest area by extending their agricultural settlement needs, and hence there are frequent conflict between human and elephant. And apart from that, mistreatment in the captivity, so if you have seen, there are at times a lot of news regarding how the elephants are mistreated when they have been held in captivity. So these are the things because of which their population is shrinking, or these are the challenges against their wildlife protection. Now just look at the status in the IUCN list also. So African elephants are listed as vulnerable, while the Asian elephants are listed as endangered. So just remember, in IUCN red list, Asian elephants are endangered. Just remember this. This is a kind of a quick fact that you could remember. And what is their status in terms of CITES? So CITES is a kind of just go back and see what this convention is about. So basically it talks about the Convention of International Trade of Endangered Species. So they talk about how the international trade or illegal trade of endangered species take place, and what kind of protection should be given to a particular wildlife so that the maximum conservation of that particular species could take place. So Asian elephant found their place in Appendix 1, which means that they enjoy maximum protection. Their trade is actually prohibited. So in international market also, Asian elephant trade for tusk is considered illegal under the CITES status. And African elephants found their way in Appendix 2. Where are these African elephants found? So these are basically in Botswana, Namibia, South Africa and Zimbabwe. So these are the things that you need to know. So in appendix inside it is Appendix 1, and in IUCN red list it is listed as endangered. These are the things you need to know. Now let's move forward and also try to understand about the conservation efforts. So we have studied the challenges, we have also discussed about the recent judgment of Supreme Court, but this is not the first time, or it's not like the government hasn't been doing anything to conserve the elephant. So let's just try to see what are the other conservation efforts. So the Project Elephant was launched by the Government of India in 1992. Remember, it was in 1992 when the Project Elephant was launched. And it was launched as a centrally sponsored scheme, which means that states also had a part to play as in the executive role as well as to provide fund. Generally, it goes for the 60s to 40, 60 for the center and 40 for the state. So it is a centrally sponsored scheme. Elephant census is conducted once in 5 years under the aegis of Project Elephant. So another feature of Project Elephant is not only the conservation effort, but it also conduct a elephant census so that they know what is the present population, and it is conducted every 5 years. Now a homework for you, go ahead and check for the tiger census. What is the frequency, in how many years tiger census is conducted? Establishment, the other efforts which has been done for the conservation of elephant include establishment of elephant reserves and adaptation of World Elephant Day. So August 12th is celebrated as World Elephant Day to help and conserve, protect elephants in India. Then we also have Gaj Yatra, which is what? Which is a nationwide awareness campaign. So it is kind of a campaign in which the public, the general masses have been made aware that elephants are important, they need conservation, and other things related to the elephant are being imparted, the knowledge is being imparted to the citizen under the program of Gaj Yatra. It celebrates elephant and highlight the necessity of securing elephant corridor. So elephant corridor, why they are important, is also told during the Gaj Yatra. Then we also have something called as MIKE program, which is monitoring the illegal killing of elephants, which was launched in 2003, and it is an international collaboration. So it is not just an Indian effort, but it is an international collaboration that tracks trains in information related to illegal killing of elephant from across Africa and Asia. So it is an international collaboration, and it looks for Asia and Africa both. Asia as well as Africa. Both of the continents are kind of tracked and see if there is a illegal killing of elephants taking place over here. And it aims to monitor effectiveness of the conservation efforts. So every country have with a considerable population of elephant will have some kind of conservation efforts. What is the progress in those conservation is also being tracked under mic. So these are the few things that you need to know. I hope you have understood this video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you.